Okay, chances are, if you're watching this, you guys are already familiar with what was going on with Sketch from earlier this week. But I'm not just gonna go over, what went down and all that. A bunch of people have been making videos about that. I really want to focus on one specific thing from the whole ordeal, and that's the fact that all of this seemed to leak from one initial source. There was one guy who put out a video sort of exposing Sketch to start all of this mess. And I just think that it was a really scummy move for the dude to even pull that in the first place, and I'm gonna explain why. So first, let's just do a super quick recap. So Sketch is a really popular streamer these days who's really blown up in the last year or so, and he seems like a very wholesome, very humble, like really stand up, pretty good dude, especially compared to a lot of the scumbags, we have in this space. Universally, it's safe to say that like most people are really fond of Sketch. Most people are really happy for him, and a lot of people are out here rooting for him. I'd recommend you check him out if you haven't already, because he's genuinely like super entertaining, and like I said, like seems like a really cool dude. But apparently a couple years ago, before he started taking off on Twitch, he attempted to have a gay OnlyFans career where he was posting scandalous photos of himself onto the internet and attempting to gain some sort of traction on OnlyFans. And that's it. That was the story, the news, if you could even really call it that. To be clear though, like it seems that most people all around have been sort of like supporting Sketch or being like, I mean, it doesn't really matter to most people if Sketch is gay or not, or bisexual or whatever, or if he was previously attempting to be an OnlyFans model. Like most people who are already fans of Sketch, myself included, it's just whatever, but it's definitely something none of us really expected to hear or like really wanted to find out, because it's kind of his business. And at the same time, sure, he put himself out there to like on the internet, and we all know that just putting yourself out there on the internet to begin with is you're making your own bed at that point. You're subject to however it is people react. Like, I'm not trying to say that this guy can't break this story, because what happened was like some random dude out there on the internet with his own little TikTok account or Twitter account or whatever discovered through whatever sources or whatnot, like I don't know if he was browsing through OnlyFans on his own time or if he was like really going on a deep dive in Sketch's like origins, but some dude came across some public photos of an OnlyFans account with a guy that looked like exactly like Sketch. Like it's definitely Sketch, and Sketch would later confirm this. And I'm just saying this dude's a scumbag for even coming out with this story in the first place. Like, I'm not saying he shouldn't have been able to do it. I'm saying morally speaking or whatever, he shouldn't do it. Sorry to like stand up here on the moral high ground like I'm better than anyone here, but like I just, if I found this information out or whatever, yeah, I would share it with my friends, maybe, all right, who don't have any sort of like online presence whatsoever, and I would have just kind of left it at that. I would not be making a video about it. I wouldn't even be making this video if Sketch didn't directly respond to this. Because regardless if anyone is gonna care or not, or be angry or upset with Sketch or not, it's just like clearly this is something he didn't want to be so out there. And the only person who violated his privacy was Sketch himself, because he chose to, make these photos in the first place. But considering how wholesome of a dude, like I was saying, Sketch really is, it's just like, I feel like he's owed a little bit of respect, where it's like he didn't do anything wrong. So all this did was cause him, this kid over here, Sketch, a shit ton of stress for this whole week, and it was really all just for personal gain on the person who leaked it, is the only thing I can imagine this was for. Because of course, like, this is something that would get attention, and like, if you're trying to start a career on the internet, for example, and whatnot, like, yeah, you gotta catch eyes, and like, this is gonna be a big story for someone. But he didn't have to do it. If Sketch had actually broken any laws, or really done anything reprehensible, or like, if something bad actually happened involving Sketch, sure, okay, leak that. That's newsworthy. That's something that like people should be aware of. But there was none of that. No, it's just embarrassing for him. Like the way I see it is you just got to be a real piece of shit to do this to someone like Sketch, who just really doesn't deserve it. And I couldn't find the original video that like leaked all of this information about Sketch's previous OnlyFans attempts. And I don't have a Twitter. I'm never going to, and I'm proud of that. So I couldn't find a re-upload of the original video on YouTube anywhere, but I did find one clip of it from Poncho's channel. You could go check him out. He's a commentary channel. I found a clip from the original video where the kid who initially broke all of this news is sort of like trying to explain or justify why he felt the need to come forward in the first place. And I think that this is just so bullshit. Like, I have a lot to say about this.
This video was awkward to write, and it was just as awkward to put images together for and edit. I'm positive that awkwardness will translate into the viewing experience, so I appreciate you for watching and sharing if you see fit.
Exactly. It's just awkward. Nobody needed to know this. Nobody was like dying to find this out.
I also want to add all the information and visuals are sourced from public content sites like OF, like Reddit, like X. None of this was pulled from Kylie Cox's personal life or personal data. This was all things that Kylie created and shared in his previous attempt to become internet famous prior to his content creation under the moniker of Sketch. I sat on this story for a couple of weeks. I was unsure if I really needed to create it and share it with the world.
You didn't. You didn't have to. All right? Like, if you already watch Sketch, you're going to keep watching Sketch after finding this out. And he doesn't really have a whole lot of haters or anything like that, but if somebody already hates Sketch, I mean, this isn't like, it's just whatever. Maybe he's gay. Maybe he's bisexual. Maybe it was just a confusing time of his life. Either way, it's just embarrassing for him. There's nothing being accomplished here.
However, I did go to school for journalism. In NJ school, they taught us if a story meets the standards of timeliness, proximity, interest, controversy, sensationalism, prominence, and novelty, according to Shoemaker et al. 1987, it is newsworthy and it needs to be shared with the public.
Needed to be shared with the public. No, it didn't. It's not like he shot up a school bus full of kids or anything like that. It's not like he's some type of predator or anything dangerous. I mean, it didn't need to be shared. If my friend took a picture of his balls on my phone as a joke, like, do I need to send that to everybody he's ever known just to embarrass him and get some attention? I'm sure some of your friends have told you some of their deepest, darkest secrets, and it's like, do you just go broadcasting that to the world too? Because there's a lot of people like who might be interested in it. You know, someone like Sketch, who's only really been a positive force for good in this whole like content creator space, which is rare to find these days. I mean, he just deserved better than this. And he mentions his stupid fucking journalism degree. And this is part in why I have such little respect for college these days and why I chose to drop out myself. College doesn't teach you how to think. It teaches you what to think. And then you become a brainless zombie like this dipshit. Those journalism courses you took never taught you anything about ethics or morality or anything like that. They just taught you how to make the most possible money and draw the most possible attention to whatever company that was planning to hire you out of college. This whole story is just tabloid bullshit, you know, shit that you would see at the supermarket on a magazine just to get you to impulse buy it. It's just cheap bullshit that this guy could profit off of and, you know, leech some clout off of. I think the reason this kid sat on this for weeks, as he said, is because he does have a conscience and he chose to ignore it. He knows by letting this out there, it's just for personal gain because nobody who cares about Sketch on the internet cares to know about this. But he did it anyway, and I understand that somebody else was probably going to come along this information and do it themselves at some point, but that doesn't mean this guy had to be the one to do it, and that doesn't mean I would be happy with the next guy who ended up pulling this anyway. One perspective a lot of people have been taking away from this is it's like, oh, well, it's no big deal if he's gay, and it's no big deal, whatever, if he started an OnlyFans. We're very sex work positive these days. And I'm trying to say that that doesn't even matter whether you're angry or not about whether or not Sketch may or may not be gay. What matters is he didn't want people to know about this. He kept it private for a reason as best he could. Because even if you are pro OnlyFans, pro sex work, pro gay, all that stuff or whatever, it's like, look, if you started an OnlyFans, do you want like everybody that you ever grew up with to find out about this? Do you want your parents to be looking at this kind of stuff? It's like, sure, like everyone on the internet knows about it, but like that also means the people in his actual like life, his personal life, are gonna see this stuff too. And it's just, we all have stuff like that that we don't want the whole world to see, especially the people we care about. Regardless whether or not he's comfortable with his sexuality or he does or doesn't want to be in the closet, it's just like, I can understand why he's completely fucking embarrassed if like everyone he's ever knew is gonna see this. That alone is the whole reason I'm saying that this is just really disrespectful to attempt in the first place. And I just, like I said, I don't have respect for this motherfucker who broke this story. And it's good to see that Sketch, in his response, if you could even really call it a response, he more just kind of acknowledged what was going on. But like, it's good to see that he's feeling the support. And it seems like when I read all the comments everywhere that everyone is really kind of rallying for him. And that's like a real beautiful thing to see, because it seems like most people on the internet are in agreement that we accept Sketch anyway. But you did nothing wrong, Sketch. This is just some fucking scumbag.